we'll start out with roll call. Alder Corpus Dax,
Present.
Alder Dorf,
Here.
Alder Johnson,
Here.
here. All right. I'll entertain a motion on the agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. And then I'll entertain a motion on the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion. Okay.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that passes unanimously. On to regular business. Item 1, consideration with possible action on the request to fill the following replacement positions and all subsequent vacancies resulting from internal transfers. Item A is a park maintenance worker from Park Recreation and Forestry. Does anyone have any questions for staff on this? If not, we'll move on to number B, which is an engineering technician for Public Works. Does anyone have any questions for staff on this? And then we'll move on to number C, engineering aid, Public Works. Anyone have any questions for staff? And if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to. Motion.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes unanimously. On to item number 2, consideration with possible action on a request to reclassify a vacant wildlife sanctuary park maintenance worker position to custodian 1 position and approval to fill the position and all subsequent vacancies. If no one has a question for staff on this, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 That passes unanimously. Item number 3, consideration with possible action on a request to reclassify a vacant word processor position to a records clerk position and approval to fill that position and all subsequent vacancies. If there are no questions for staff, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
I got a second. All those in favor say
Aye.
aye, and that passes. Item number 4, consideration with possible action to add 1 limited term locate technician position to the Public Works table of organization and approval to fill that position. If no one has any questions for staff, I'll entertain a motion on that. Alder Johnson, you have a question.
Yep. Thank you. Director Grenier, I just, if you could help me understand, and I think in the memo it was explained that permits would cover the cost of this position. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Is that, do permits normally need to be pulled for this type of service, or is this situation unique?
Yes and no. So it is unique. Normally permits do need to be pulled, and some of the permitting cost does go to help offset what would normally be a levy supported position. Well, the position is partially levy supported and partially utility funded. In this particular case, again, we're talking, and I think the council has seen presentations from TDS Metrocom about the sheer scope of what they are doing. And with them installing 505 miles of fiber optic cable over the next 3 years, their requests for utility locates associated with their project alone is simply going the ability to do that work and to do the normal locating that they do during the course of a year. So what we've proposed here is we're going to have a locator, a limited term employee, simply dedicated to the TDS project, and that person is also going to locate on behalf of Green Bay Water Utility, so there's some shared costing. Normally, we've got a base fee for excavation permits, but we do have the ability on a large project like this to sit down and calculate what our anticipated costs are and charge an appropriate permit fee to recover those costs. So that's the option we're doing on this particular project, rather than using a base fee approach. So we've calculated the cost of this employee's wage and fringe into what we're going to be charging the permit fee to TDS Metrocom.
So there's really no like spinning of the roulette wheel on this one. We know exactly what it's going to cost, and we're charging it back as a permit fee.
Well, again, we're making some gross estimations. You know, we're talking about 3 years worth of wages, and we're talking about 502 or 505 miles of fiber optic. So if that value goes down a little bit, the footage will generate less in permit. We think it's a pretty safe bet. We're pretty confident in the numbers that we have. There's always a possibility that there's some minor fluctuation in there, but nothing that I'm concerned with. I'm confident that the permit fees are definitely going to cover the cost of this individual as well as some others we have to contract as part of this project.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff? I'll entertain a motion, or did I already?
I don't know.
No, we'll start over. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, and that passes unanimously. Number 5, consideration with possible action to repeal and replace the Chapter 20 Weather Emergency Employee Absence Policy. Are there any questions for staff?
I just wanted to say I like the new one. It's clearer. It's easier to follow. I think you did a good job.
I would concur. I'll entertain a motion.
I will move to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. Consideration with possible action to approve Personnel Policy Chapter 33 Temporary Emergency Medical Paid Sick Leave. Does anyone have any questions for staff on this? I think we went over this at the last finance meeting. It pertains to the Omicron surge of COVID-related illnesses.
I moved. Oh,
Yes,
go ahead.
Alder Johnson.
Yeah, Director Faulds, if you could just kind of help me understand. I mean, obviously, we know that we're still in the throes of a pandemic here, but I think it's also broadly accepted that, I mean, this is really never going away. So, I mean, is it the expectation that every year we're going to have a separate allocation for this particular virus? I mean, at some point, right, it gets absorbed, whether you're talking about the flu, the common cold, whatever it is. I guess, do we have a long-term strategy with how that gets absorbed into our normal sick day calculations so that we don't have to have this conversation every year?
So I guess the answer is, I'm not sure if there's an echo on my end or your end, but for that, I wouldn't say that we have a definitive long-term strategy on this. I think we have a lot of hope that we will not be having this conversation again after this goes through. And this policy can be repealed or amended at any time by the Common Council. So I think the hope was to look at Omicron cases have really spiked, and it looks like they're coming down quite a bit. I think we're already kind of seeing them come down, especially in Wisconsin. So we're hoping this would be the last time to do that. And that's really up to the council whether or not they want to prove that again. But let's say 4 or 5 months from now, there's maybe some national or global discussion about, moving on and living with the virus. That might be a time to, amend or repeal it at that time. So that'd be up to the council to do. But we're going to continue to monitor the situation. And we're hopeful that we won't bring this every single year to add 5, sick days to people's sick accrual banks.
So when I read the agreement, Director Faulds, I think and please correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that I'm reading it is all city staff would qualify this with the exception of transit. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Could you explain that?
Yes. So with right now with transit employees, as you're aware of the responsibilities that they have to, transport members of our community to different places. We've had some staffing shortages with transit. We've had a lot of turnover. And at this point, we feel like it would be the best to not move forward with trying to bargain it into their contract. If the transit union would like to bargain it or find a way to get some other type of pandemic sick leave into their contract, they're free to do that. But at this point, we have not chosen to bargain with transit on this type of sick leave. We have, however, moved forward with police and fire unions and bargained with them, and mainly headed them and whether or not we believe it would be a good fit for them, but they don't have the same staffing shortages that transit does at this time.
Okay, and then I guess immediately apparent to me in the supporting documentation, how does this get funded?
So the funding, like in the memo, it talks about there's really no funding source in the sense of there isn't going to be a bank that this comes out of. It's really it's added sick leave days to someone's sick bank. So there's no direct increased cost to the budget on a fiscal year. It's really it's unfunded, unbudgeted. It's just extra time off for employees due to COVID-related illness. Where it could come as a financial impact is if someone is eligible to bank their sick leave days in the future for an escrow account that can be used for premiums, or excuse me, for health insurance premiums. That's where the long-term costs come in. So for example, if this policy gets approved and we don't have, and someone gets the 5 extra sick days, they now can use those sick days and they aren't using the sick days that they already built up. So they're getting an additional 5 days that they can use instead of their own sick days. So hopefully that made sense, answered your question.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of the way that I understood it. I guess sometimes you like to hear it said a different way, make sure you've got it, locked in.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Alder Steuer.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I got Alder Vanderleest calling on the other line there. So if you hear him in the background, I apologize. Anyway, hold on a second. All right, thanks. Anyway, Director Falls, I was wondering, I know this, let me know, but it sounds to me like each city employee would be getting some money from the COVID relief fund. Is that what I'm understanding, like $500? And do all city employees get that if that's the case?
So Alder Sawyer, the policy in front of you is for 40 hours of additional sick leave that someone could use if they are if they have COVID-19 illness. That's what is in front of you. There's no proposal for a $500 stipend for employees.
All
That's
right.
not in front of the council.
I just heard some things, so I just needed to clarify that. So, all right, that's good. Thank you.
All right, are there any more questions?
Move to approve. Move to approve.
Need a second? I'll
Second.
second it. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, and that passes. Consideration with possible action, overhire 6 firefighter positions due to upcoming retirements. Does anyone have any questions for the chief?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. On the informational, does anyone have any questions on the report of routine personal actions for regular employees? If not, our next meeting is February 22nd, 2022.
Move to adjourn.
There we go.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Be back in a few minutes, 5 minutes, Barb.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay.
All right. Sounds
Bye.
good, everyone.